our Gemini and WebBank, our shared motivation is actually risk reduction. Like being able to settle in RLUSD to the MasterCard network allows us to settle once per day, not just once every business day. And with the increased velocity of settlement, you get lower balances, and with lower balances, you get lower risk. The other kind of sad reality is there's a lot of inefficiency and elevated associated risk in legacy infrastructure and legacy processes. So at the same time that we get improved velocity and efficiency, we also get some of the obvious operational benefits of the blockchain in terms of efficiency, transparency, security, and scalability. And it's really risk reduction that I think is the core motivation behind each of our participation in this initiative.
Yeah. Anything to add?
No, I fully agree, because up until now, even when you tap your Gemini card at a store here and it says transaction approved or payment made, there's no payment made, right? There's just an authorization. So at this point, it is clear that at the end of the day, the acquirer will get the money from the issuer and will give it to the merchant, right? But the system that works behind is archaic to a certain extent, right? It takes time for the money to move, and using the latest technology, not only to reward consumers in terms of, XRP cashback, but also putting sort of a more potent engine underneath the hood. I think that's very exciting.
Absolutely. And you mentioned kind of effectively daily settlement. You could almost get to multi-day settlement, as you get comfortable with it, potentially, as we explore.
Yeah, I think that principal element is so critical. And when you look at the companies that are represented on this stage, we've all been doing this for decades, right? For a number of years. And I think the principle that governs a lot of this, all of this, and what we built in our partnership is, can we provide a product that is safe, secure, sound to consumers, and really have that serve as an entryway into digital assets for them, or as a way for them to commit even further into digital assets if that's what they believe in. The practice of it, I think, in what made this partnership so well is, I think about the partnership teams across our organizations and how they drew us together and really highlighted the opportunity set, why the alignment made sense, and from there it was just about moving quickly and keeping that principle of alignment in mind.
Yeah. So, the other thing I think we've done a good job of is, you've got a card network, a bank, crypto provider, blockchain infrastructure provider. Like, we all have very different mandates and objectives. And as we've kind of gone through the iterations, that we've talked about the goods, like what risk items do you guys see that make sure that we, are successful as we move forward? Very different kind of, mandates, so to speak. Maybe Jeff, anything that you're looking at as we heard the cats here?
Well, I think, I'm sitting here on stage with some of the OGs in crypto, and we have this tiny little bank that's not really as forward-thinking or experienced on just basic infrastructure. And so we're still learning our way through this process and leaning heavily on each of our partners to help educate us on, what is it precisely we need to put in place so that we can properly integrate this new capability into our existing infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think foundationally, the most important element to building that partnership and having that alignment is just making sure that no one at the table has a zero-sum mentality.
Yeah.
Like, that's at the crux of it, right? If you go into it knowing that this is an opportunity to grow, that both or all three or all four organizations will benefit from being more involved in it, then it'll sort out. If you go into it thinking, I'm going to optimize this one lever because this one lever will mean more to me now and in the future, I think ultimately you will always come to loggerheads on something.
Anything?
No.
Any on your worry list?
No, I mean, not something that I would put in the crypto-specific worry department here, right? Because, we look at RLUSD, obviously, everybody can see the white paper and everything. So at the end of the day, and that's not trivial, it's still a complex, multi-actor technical implementation, but that is what we've been doing, for decades and decades. So I think looking at the setup we try to achieve, I don't see a major risk other than, You just need to make it happen, right? Which is not trivial, but yeah.
It's your normal implementing a new technology, making sure that it fits.
And of course, when we look at a new stable coin, we do our due diligence, but we wouldn't be sitting here if we had not done this before, and we hadn't acquired that level of comfort that we want to do this, and we have a long-lasting relationship already. And again, it's a win-win situation. We want to carefully evolve in a very sustainable manner, putting consumer interest first. So I'm very, very, very bullish on this one.
Yeah. One of the things that has also kind of come through as we've kind of worked through the partnership, and it's a mantra I think we all share, is kind of the ability to do regulatory compliance, kind of safety and security, like it is a immovable object, like non-negotiable. And so as we think about that, as a non-negotiable, and each of your institutions kind of has, I think, as a a guardrail, like as a fundamental, how do you make sure you're looking after kind of the consumer and the industry protection, like where the innovation is coming in? How do you guys think about making sure that that immovable object is looked after? Maybe Jeff.
Yeah, I mean that's really in WebBank's DNA. Like our mission is to help fintech partners around the U.S. drive innovation and expand access to credit. So the same way we innovate on kind of back-end infrastructure and settlement is the same way we brought the Gemini card to market. One of the first crypto rewards credit cards in 2021, and it's really to your point, like we do the innovation along with focusing on making sure we're doing right by our customers and making sure that compliance is always first in all of our thoughts. And a big part of that is choosing the right partners and choosing partners that have a similar focus on establishing the right infrastructure for customers and doing things in a risk-appropriate and compliant fashion, and that's certainly the case with Gemini, MasterCard, and Ripple.
Yep.
Maybe building on that comment a bit, it may sound a little counterintuitive, but there's a saying that like slow is fast and fast is slow, or smooth is fast and fast is smooth, right? And when we think about our bank partners, the stability of the bank partner in allowing us to have a consumer-facing product is only as stable as probably their weakest partner that they face off with. So when we think about the questions and thoughts and comments that Jeff and his team bring to us from Web, it helps give us a sense of assurance that, well, this is their posture and facing against every other fintech that they work with, every other crypto company they might work with. And that means that they are likely to stay on the right side of things, both from a consumer protection perspective, from a regulatory perspective, across the board. That means that we won't see a disruption in our business because of another party disrupting their business, right?
Yeah.
So I think that matters a lot to us. Overall, I think, having a partner like Web, like MasterCard, gives us a sense of assurance that when they've looked at what we do, when we add on our own policies on top of that, it's structurally sound and meant to be, a durable product.
Yeah. Sounds like I know we've chatted backstage about, MasterCard has a view to look after, kind of where the evolution is going and make sure you're maturing your business. You've done it through some various cycles, so I'm sure that resonates, but, those are the things that...
And where the business is going, I always tell people that I have a 15-year-old daughter and she's never set foot in a bank, right? But she has very diverse and sophisticated financial needs, by her standards, right? And if we're not embracing that technology in a way where we combine the trust, the reliability, that network of partners that MasterCard has built up over the decades, and put that where the next generation of consumers want to conduct their financial services, then we risk of being left out, right? So we want to take all the things that we think we are really good at in terms of, providing global interoperability, safety, security, compliance, dispute resolution, but that needs to evolve because the world is evolving, and whether we like it or not, payment is an afterthought, right? Yeah. People want to buy something online, they want to split a bill after dinner, they want to subscribe to Netflix or something else, and payment, quote unquote, just needs to work. And, 30 years back, I only had my fiat in my checking account to spend, and now the world is more diverse, and it will continue to evolve. And I think that is our mission statement. That's what makes my job particularly interesting, to explore these things, steadfast connected to what makes us great, right? Compliance and all these things, but exploring where the next generation of consumers and businesses wants us to be.
Yeah, that's great. You kind of touched on this, so I think right now we've got this this moment where we continue to build on the blockchain. Trust and really risk management is it's the foundation of financial services. So as we keep kind of building that trust within blockchain to make sure that it goes deeper and deeper, there's some things that you can think about that will allow that to work, so we don't have an uh-oh moment that causes us to go backwards. Maybe Dan, starting with you.
Yeah, sure. Look, I think what this technology enables is transparency that we haven't seen, in any recent memory that we could imagine. And I think that's really at the center of it. So when we think about our card business and our partnership with you, the transparency in seeing how much activity is happening in aggregate terms, in aggregate dollars, in number of customers, like that's something that we are glad that our partners at Web, at MasterCard, and at Ripple can have full visibility into. Like, that's important because I think ultimately that tells all of us, are we heading in the right direction from a business perspective? Are we heading in the right direction from a risk perspective? And I think what that transparency does is it reduces cycle times, right? Business models that work well, that are transparent, that are profitable, that have unit economics that make sense, get recognition and resonate a lot faster. And it frankly just reduces that friction of information.
Yeah. And I'm guessing it's just with that, you've got policies and procedures with the bank. It's just how do you pull those in and make sure it's just part of the core in terms of what you're already doing, just again, leveraging a new kind of capability technology.
Absolutely. I mean, in an important way, one of the ways we build trust is by starting small. So what we're talking about here is relatively straightforward. We have a back office settlement operation with the MasterCard network. But there's a lot that goes into that. Like there are unique capital risk weights with RLUSD on our balance sheet. There are unique treasury and liquidity processes that need to be updated to facilitate this. There's a new set of tools and technologies. And as we all know, there's also the custody and the safeguarding. Like the OCC has a 100-page manual just on how to examine custody of assets. And that was written in 2002. Like even before they were dealing with custody on crypto assets. So we're doing this thoughtfully, we're doing this slowly and diligently. That will build trust amongst our partners, build trust with our customers, and help us build from that foundation to the next use case.
That's right. How do you think of trust adoption through these technologies at MasterCard?
I think a lot of things that Jeff said make sense, and I think a fundamental thing that sometimes, not in this group of people, but if you go to certain parts of the crypto industry, they feel, okay, no, this is bad. You almost bastardize something that wanted to disrupt everything. I think this mindful and sustainable innovation of saying there's new technology, we want to adopt this, but we also want to keep the things that are working, obviously working. And I think you need to embrace that, right? And there have been, I don't know, every decade or so, there's this disruptive innovation, right? Yeah. People would be sending faxes around, right? And then there was a question, is digital file transfer, is this actually secure? So I think these are not even fundamentally new questions. So we have asked these questions as we evolve in an industry. And I think as long as we have these core beliefs or commitments and look at the things through these lenses, we will continue to find the right solutions. And again, 100% with Jeff, tread carefully, test, make sure you're on the right side. Yeah.
That's great. Maybe, kind of as we think about concluding, if we were to zoom out, we're going to make great progress here. What does success look like, in a few years' time, both for the partnership, but maybe the implications on the broader kind of, payment ecosystem as well? Maybe. Sorry, start with you.
Yeah. So for us, it's optionality and choice. And when I said, my daughter didn't set foot in the bank, lots of people still do, right? And for us, it is, we want to offer solutions for everyone, including catering to their preferences. And when they see that red and yellow interlocking circle, they know it's safe and secure and working. Yeah. And we want to do more of these things. We want to see, what you can do, connecting a card to be able to collect digital assets as reward spent digital assets, still have the benefit of a global network, maybe use your digital assets as a sort of collateral or something. So we're so early in the journey of using digital assets when it comes to payment, and that is only the front end that I was touching, right? Yeah. So I just want to explore in a mindful way what we can do. And then again, we have actually what we're doing today is putting stablecoin settlement in the back room, and there's equally exciting ways to innovate that a lot of people hopefully will never need to know about, because it's just something that the industry does, so consumers can use the Gemini card, and it's magic, right? Yeah. So use my card, pay with it, get XRP, and over, right? And nobody needs to look behind the curtain.
That's success.
Yeah, I think that what does success look like, right? At a very basic level, people who realize there's a card product that is transparent, simple, fast, that lets them earn digital assets, that's great. Like, we want more of that. We want to partner with you and continue to grow and scale that. On a more foundational side, you mentioned intraday or multiple times a day payment and settlement. So we're going from a world where settlement might have taken days to same day to maybe 7 days a week. But then if we kind of break apart what a credit card is, if we kind of step back and think about what are these pieces of plastic, or in our case, metal, that people get to carry and that allow them to execute transactions in real life, on the web, in any form, what does that actually serve? What's the purpose, right? And there's an element that is a payment transfer, and there's an element that's an extension of credit. And what I'm excited about are the second, third, and fourth order impacts of a more frequent settlement vehicle, because if you have that and you have a low friction, low cost settlement vehicle, then I think you can start to break those things apart and allow people who want a payment mechanism to have a payment mechanism, and those who want to take out leverage, but do so thoughtfully and maybe in a more efficient way. So again, kind of going back to the example of, like, the internet used to be Ask Jeeves, used to be, Lycos. It used to be other things you would search for, and now is a fundamentally different thing. And now you have AI helping people get to answers in faster ways often. I'm excited with what this enables payments and consumer financing to turn into over time.
That's great. Kind of in a way you were talking about, you can evolve across that food chain. What does success look like for WebBank, you think?
Yeah, I think, Dan, you're exactly right. Like, there's local success on this settlement use case, and I think long term, that's to your point, like driving not just daily settlement, but taking real advantage of RLUSD in terms of 24/7 real-time settlement capabilities. But more important to that, and another second-order impact, is this is an opportunity as straightforward and obvious as this kind of local use case is, to build some of those foundational infrastructure and relationships so that when the next idea comes, we already have the know-how, some of the basic capabilities. There are going to be use cases we can't even conceive of today, and I think long-term success is our ability to actualize those use cases when they come up because of this stepwise, thoughtful, iterative approach.
Yeah. Well, look, I think on behalf of Ripple, we're so excited for the partnership. I mean, we talked about how, kind of the operational efficiencies are coming to bear because organizations like yours are in a spot to, embrace the technology, but it's also some of the growth, aspirations, and who knows what use cases are coming. So thank you very much for your partnership. We're super excited to see what our next announcement might look like, and let's give a big round of applause for our panel.
Thank you.